Anyway, who has a 100-word summary of how I killed the second Rathius queer I know? Which I felt really good about. I really enjoy killing characters.
Gus got some new pants. That was good.
He did.
Decided to get new pants. Now they're covered in Florian's blood.
We had Florian became a meat puppet, a horrible meat puppet.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we might have to have a conversation about that because that's the thing. No, we don't need those things hanging around town.
Brick Road.
Yes.
I feel like that's in the Tome of Beasts, and I once again I feel like we should take this away from you. I feel like it's too much power.
There's a second volume I want to get.
There's a third. There's 3 of them now. Because there's the Tome of Beasts and there's that Tome of Foes. But yeah, no, it's and then Florian died, and we're probably gonna have like words between Alex and I because Gus is probably gonna sneak off with his dead body and try to get him resurrected.
But I made a new character.
You don't have to.
I mean, and Florian becomes an NPC.
Yeah. No, we make you play both.
No.
We make you play both, and we put them both in a room and make them interact where he's just talking to each other. He's like, "How you doing, Florian?" "Well, I'm doing fine."
I was wondering how long he was going to do that bit for. Like, him playing both of the characters.
Stop now, Treble. You're doing just fine.
Yep.
You just want to play everybody's character today? Like the rest of us can just take off?
Yeah, sure.
So why are you guys down in these weird catacombs?
So, Captain Ten Sails is of the mind that Journey has got some kind of evidence and word that the king is dead, and she's trying to unearth that information, bring it to light, and in so doing, secure her position as the leading candidate for the next king of Dunfoss. And Captain Ten Sails wants us to bring him that evidence instead, and so he can do that.
And then what happened?
And then Florian died.
Right. So I had this enormous dungeon planned out, and you guys got one room into it.
And one character got jobbed, yeah. So hopefully there's not more than 5 other rooms, I think. No, 4 other more rooms.
I feel like this is sort of our fault for going, "Hey, you're the wizard. Why don't you go first, right?" I feel like we brought this upon ourselves, or on Florian.
Yeah, no. Florian's the one.
Florian was invisible. Yeah, he was invisible and silent.
Right,
and
yeah.
Also, yeah, no, it's like, no, these monsters ignore invisible because
they had true sight.
So
what are you guys doing with Florian's body? You put it into are you wrapped up in a bolt of cloth?
Yep.
Yes.
And you're leaving it down here for now.
No, it's on Scrappy.
He secured it.
He's tied it to Scrappy, and Scrappy's going to lug it around?
Yep.
That's important information for me to have, actually. Okay.
Oh. I swear to God, if Florian gets back up as a soulless homunculus.
Why is there a giant smiley face drawn on the table?
I don't see his giant smiley face.
I don't see no giant smiley face.
It was under the fog of war.
Oh, well then, I guess that's
It wasn't foggy enough.
So there's a situation where I believe Lucius spotted a hidden passage in the wall, and Alexander had opened it up as well, which is why we have a little bit of a like this. We got this number going here.
So why don't you tell us a little something about this new guy that we will never love as much as we loved Florian?
Okay. His name is Connor. He is a human ranger. He is kind of bonkers, is the way I describe him. He fell into the Feywild at one point, was there a little bit too long, and he's better for it. Allegedly.
Connor. Being out in the wilds, how close do you tend to, or how far, rather, do you tend to stay away from the city of Dunfoss? Like, what does your ranging territory look like?
Let's make it easy. It's a mile.
So, a mile outside of the city?
Yeah, since he does have ties to Dunfoss with his guild and what have you.
And are you trained in Arcana?
Yes.
Because what ranger wouldn't be? Okay. Getting further and further north of Dunfoss, once you leave the road, is becoming more and more dangerous as the patrols that would typically walk the road between one kingdom and the next are becoming more and more preoccupied with being redirected towards the war effort. So you're aware that there has been an undead uprising in the dwarven kingdoms to the north, and that Dunfoss has pledged considerable military support in order to see the dwarven kingdom liberated. I'm going to go out on a limb and assume that you're not plugging yourself into this situation at any point.
No.
Okay, so keeping clear of this. What's your character's alignment?
Neutral good.
So one of the side effects of the more sparse patrols is that there is a greater recurrence of banditry and highwaymen and people jacking supplies or getting attacked on the roads, which are less safe to travel now. So you've spent no small amount of time dealing with this sort of thing as well. Does Connor have an animal companion of any kind? Is it a laughing hyena?
Sorry.
Who's doing their dishes? Stop it.
He does not have an animal companion.
Okay.
But there were too many in this game. And I said no.
As you're moving about in the wilds one day, there's a copse of trees that you take shade in some evenings to relax, take your evening meal. And as you approach it on this evening, you see a thin line of smoke arising from what would be the center of this copse of trees.
Let's go investigate.
How so? Sneaking up on the cops, barging in, just firing a barrage of arrows from 100 feet away.
That sounds like fun. Let me roll up a third character. Let's go towards it and let's make it stealthy.
And what's your passive perception?
Hiding behind trees and shadows and stuff. My passive perception is 14.
And trees and shadows are abundant as you close in, so it's very easy, and you know the place very, very well. So you manage to slink in behind some shrubs, and you see that in the center of the copse is a very small clearing, in the center of which is the largest tree with a very broad trunk, low-hanging branches, so it provides a lot of shade. And you see where, in the center of it, in front of this tree, you see two figures. One is what looks like a humanoid woman wearing tattered robes. And she's kind of slumped with her head bowed down with her back against the tree. And next to her, kneeling down, you see a little girl wearing a soiled dress. And next to her, you see where a small pit has been dug in the ground, and the little girl is busying herself trying to start a fire, but all she's doing is producing a great quantity of smoke. And you see that her movements are restricted somehow. She's having difficulty moving her left arm for some reason. And she's just sitting there trying to rub two sticks that even from this distance you can tell are way too wet and will never ignite, and she doesn't have her kindling piled up. It's like watching the first episode of Survivor. And that's the scene. This little girl is fumbling in her soiled dress at this little hole next to a figure who's not moving at all.
Okay. First thing. First, I did say Connor was a little bonkers. First thing he's going to do, he's going to cast Protection from Good and Evil on himself.
Okay.
Once the spell goes off, he will approach cautiously with his bow drawn. And says, "Well, hello, little girl."
So you say bow drawn. I mean, you use what kind of bow?
Longbow.
And you've got an arrow knocked as you're approaching this girl?
Yep.
Or are you just holding your bow? You do have an arrow knocked, okay?
Yep.
And you completely startle her. And she shrieks. And with her right hand, you see one at a time, she's grabbing up rocks or big sticks and flinging them at you. Screaming at you to go away. And as she's moving, you see around her left hand a chain coming off of it that snakes down to the ground and then up under the tattered robes of the figure leaning against or sitting against the tree.
And you said she's hurling rocks at me and stuff?
Yeah, she's freaked out. She's throwing rocks and sticks and clumps of dirt.
All right, calm down, little girl. What's going on here?
And you continue to approach with your bow out.
He'll keep his bow out, but he'll stop moving.
Okay. Are you trained in medicine?
No.
Survival?
Yay.
Make a survival or nature check.
I am trained in nature.
One of the two.
But my survival is higher. Let's go with survival then. Yeah, that's 22.
Okay. As you're approaching, the little girl is just freaking out, throwing things at you. You see that the dress she's wearing is very fine. It's this very kind of vivid purple color, and it has lots of frills. And at one point would have been a very fine dress, but it looks like she's been out in the wilderness for quite some time. And as you approach, you smell the scent of decay. Very faint, but unmistakable, coming from the figure she's connected to by this thin metal chain. And if you get close enough, she starts kicking and whapping at you with her arms and legs ineffectually because she's a small child.
Let's cast Find Traps to make sure that...
No, there's no traps about.
Traps around? Alright,
Nope.
Cool. That was another spell slot. It needs to go away. Not ticking off my sheet. And she didn't say anything when he asked her what's wrong, right? Just...
No, she shrieked as she jumped up and she started throwing stuff at you.
Okay. Connor sighs, lowers his bow, and says, "What's wrong, little girl?"
And she starts to articulate a little better, yelling at you to keep away and to go away. And you see her tugging with her left arm. It's becoming apparent that she can't move from this spot because she's tethered to this dead body.
Mm-hmm.
But she's trying to retreat from you and get away from you.
All right.
What do you look like?
So his appearance is like shaved head, stubble, kind of transient looking since he prefers being outside. So, torn garments that have been resewn.
So not necessarily like the little guy on your piece.
No.
Are you wearing that hat?
Yeah. I'm gonna wear that. Cool hat because it's got a feather in it. Yeah, but let's go investigate the body.
Roll an Arcana check.
I have that skill. That is a 14.
14. Bear with me just 1 second. I notated what school of magic this was, but then I didn't save the text file. The body is dead. And it's a half-elven woman. Her robes and her clothes that she's wearing are tattered and torn, but not from wear and tear of travel. You can see where she ripped holes in the clothes herself with her own fingernails and has shredded them here and there, mostly on the robe covering her. Her face is very dirty, and her mouth is like gaping open, and 2 or 3 day old trail of drool has kind of streamed out of her mouth and down her chin, which is resting on her chest. And her eyes are locked open. You don't see any obvious injuries as you're going over. Of note, you don't find anything of value as far as... You do find a money pouch, which has been overturned and emptied out. No weapons, but you do sense the traces of enchantment magic fading slowly from the corpse. And the whole time you're going over it, this girl is behind you, and realizing that she's not going to be able to, like, her attacks are not having any effect, she strains her arm as far away as she can behind you. And she's trying to not sound scared.
And you said the chain is connected. The chain from her arm is connected to the body, right?
When the little girl steps back and tries to strain away, it's connected to the right arm of this corpse, which jerks upward and hangs limply in the air next to you.
And Connor says, "Did you do this, little girl? What's you're doing?"
And she starts shaking her head back and forth.
Well, it's not good to lie. You'll just get in more trouble.
She said, "No, I didn't do it. He did. The pig from hell."
Would Connor have heard at this point that the flying pig has been banished?
But that depends on whether Connor's been in Dunfoss at all recently.
Oh.
And if so, like how... If Connor has had any major presence in Dunfoss recently, it's likely he would have gotten a note from the flying pig offering services.
Okay.
But as far as who he was or what happened to him, a lot of that's just not public knowledge.
Okay. In that case, Connor pulls his bow up again, notching it, and says, "Well, now you see, I've heard that the flying pig has already been taken care of. So what's your story, Missy?"
And she resumes tugging at the arm, and she pleads with you to leave her alone, that she doesn't want anything to do with the pig from hell.
Connor's paranoia gets better than him. how do I know that you don't work for the Flying Pig? How do I know this isn't a trap?
And she blurts out that she had one job for the Flying Pig, but she did it wrong, and she didn't do it well, and that he was going to punish her, but that Skada was going to save her from him and take her away from him, so he couldn't find her anymore. And then he found Skada instead and punished her. Piecing together her rants from here and there, what you put together is that she must have received a letter from the Flying Pig, and the name that keeps coming up in her story is she's learned something about a detective agency in Dunfoss that she was supposed to bring under the wing of the Flying Pig to retrieve a powerful artifact that apparently they hold, that things went completely wrong for them, and that now he has this huge grudge that he holds even after being sent to hell that he intends to make good on.
Connor nods and says, well, then I guess we are in luck. Or we are both searching for Flumph. And what is it going to take to get control of this chain from the dead body?
You could probably just break the metal links.
Okay.
It looks like the on the little girl's side, it's attached to a manacle that she's wearing under one of the frilly sleeves of her dress. And there's a keyhole, but searching through the body, you don't find the key to it.
Okay. Connor puts his bow away, puts up both of his hands, and says, "Help me if you betray me." And sets to work breaking the links of the chain.
And it only takes a few moments. So what is your intention? Bring this girl back to Dunfoss? Put an arrow in her here?
To return the girl to... Since we both looking for Flumph.
Well, she's not looking for Flumph. She was escaping from Dunfoss to get further and further away from their reach. Skada was fleeing town, to hear her say it.
If that's the case, then he wants her to take Connor to Flumph.
Okay.
Set up introduction.
So you learn her name is Kana, and that she thought that she was going to be killed after she failed in her task. But what ended up happening is, for some reason, Flumph Inc. became obsessed with finding her and rescuing her, which the Flying Pig thought was hilarious, and so kept her as a kind of token to make sure that they would always be coming after her. That ended up not working well for him, and he ended up being killed. Skada was apparently fleeing north to sell information about this incredibly evil relic that the detectives possess, to sell knowledge of this relic to whatever intelligent entity is controlling this undead uprising in the north, thinking that would buy her safety and power and prestige. However, on the journey north, she suddenly went stupid. And putting the Connor is associated with the Phaedrua Shad, yes?
Yes.
Okay. The way she describes it as though Skada came under the effects of a feeble mind spell, where all of her brain functions just suddenly stopped one at a time. And she could no longer speak, and she couldn't reason through anything. Kana was able to lead her around and get her to walk, but she wouldn't eat and wouldn't sleep and wouldn't take water, and after a few days she starved to death in this copse of trees. And it's been 2 days since that point that you arrived.
Okay. In that case, Connor will share his water skin. He will cast Goodberry and give her a Goodberry. Because Goodberry is the best.
the journey back to Dunfoss is more or less uneventful. What do you do with the girl once you arrive?
Well, I want her to take me to Flumph Inc.
Okay. Sorry, I have to find the note page that I'm looking for. Okay, I think I know how I'm going to do this. After a few days of travel, she kind of comes out of her stupor a little bit. She calms down. She comes to trust you more after she's had some food and she has some relative safety. She brings you to the barge that Flumph Inc. works at. And when you get there, there's a man with a horse cart at the top of this this hill, down which you have to descend a ladder to get down to where the barge is moored.
They live on a ship.
There's a ridiculous sign with a magic mouth, and I don't even want to get into it.
Well, that's terrifying. Why would they keep that up?
The man with the horse cart is there, and he sees you approaching and makes some inquiries about Flumph Inc. He tells you that he's been told by their secretary, I guess, assistant, that they're not in, and they've been in only sporadically for about the past month. And you learn from this man that apparently several of the wealthier members of Flumph Inc., the ones who dress really nice all the time, were making calls at a local tailor shop elsewhere in the city. But it's kind of like a rundown, middling quality tailor shop, like function over form. This guy represents a tailor's interest in a more upscale area of town, and hearing that Flumph Inc. was in the market, brought his horse cart here to show them his wares and show that he does a better job at making beautiful clothing than the crappy tailor they went to. The reason he wants Flumph Inc.'s business is because this is a name that's become associated amongst the peasantry with Sigurd Tensails, who is a... we'll just assume that Connor knows who that is and why that's significant. So you get the name of this tailor shop that they've apparently were calling at earlier today. This man's intent is to kind of camp out here with his horse cart until they return so he can Shanghai them and have their undivided attention to make his sales pitch.
Okay. Cool. The girl and I will go visit Taylor shop.
So you're taking the girl with you?
Yeah.
Alright, this dungeon's going to get way more fun. Gus and Alex and Lucius and the Badger.
Hi.
So Alex, you're in this small room. You've rolled Florian's body into this bolt of cloth.
I don't see anything revealed through the fog of war right now.
You should see the little room, at least.
Let me just... Yeah, okay, now I see it.
Okay. Lucius.
Yes.
You and Connor figure out, because you're standing closest to the ladder leading up, while Gus and Alex are dealing with Florian's body. You and Connor
Who?
figure out how he gets introduced to this dungeon in the next 5 minutes. Go.
Connor, how did you sneak into this place? I don't know. Whatever. I'm a little confused here.
So, did you guys leave any traces when you broke into his place at night?
I picked the lock.
Okay, and I'm assuming you didn't relock it.
No.
Yeah, that's all. That's all Connor will need to be like, huh? Why is this door not locked?
Then you'll recall the back door of the tailor shop, which is not locked, goes into the cramped storeroom, and then one of the cupboards at ground level opens up out into this little cobblestone dungeon, which is where they have the dirt hole that goes downward.
Okay.
So discovering all that only takes a minute. But now you're at the top of the ladder, and Lucius is at the bottom of the ladder, watching his two friends bind up his other recently dead friend. And you guys take it from there.
And
Lucius
Connor
steps back over here, keep watch.
Connor sticks his head down and just goes, Flumph Inc?
Do you have dark vision? Right, but is it active at the moment?
No, it's not.
'Cause I don't think they have a light source down there.
Okay. In which case, being the dark, Connor would cast dark vision on himself first.
And the first thing you would see is once you called up Flumph Inc. was Lucius be pointing his scepter up the ladder at you. Says, "Who wants to know?"
This is where Connor says, "I found the girl you're looking for," and he throws her down the hole and runs away.
Have to make a third character.
Just not feeling the ranger.
I've been looking for you for a while now. My goodness, you are hard to find. My name is Connor.
We have very reasonable rates.
I heard you banished the flying pig.
Yeah, that happened.
And Connor ushers the girl to climb down the ladder first.
But with great trepidation and goading, if you force her to, she will begin climbing down this ladder.
Lucius turns to Gustavus and Alexander and says, "We have company." Calls through the little gap way.
So we'll just say the yellow one is Kana now, when she gets to the bottom first.
And Lucius looks very surprised to see this little girl. Hey, Gustavus, it's your friend.
And meanwhile, Connor is telling about all of the gossip he's heard about when they banished the flying pig.
So you're speaking in a relatively high voice, because you're at the top of a 60-foot ladder. Yes?
Yeah, sorta.
So you guys at the bottom, you realize if Connor continues shouting up there, he's going to wake up this tailor at the very least.
Oh god, do I have
He's
the
not
magic that can
shouting, he's
shut
just-
him up for a second?
Speaking loudly.
Don't. Lucius gestures for him to get down here and to be the quiet, you idiot.
Oh, sorry.
Gus is like my friend, and like I don't remember his name because we sent him. He went to war,
Mhm.
but I'll ask like so and so because I don't remember that guy's name.
No, shorter than that.
Connor holds out a hand and says, Connor,
I don't know this man.
I
No,
deal
you
with
know,
monsters.
Lucius points to the little girl.
Kana definitely recognizes all of you, and there's
Right.
great trepidation in her eyes. She's had something to eat over the course of the last few days, but she's still very frightened.
Gus is gonna bend down and says, "Hello, Connor. How are you?"
And when you ask her that, she immediately bursts into tears.
Gus is gonna like just kind of gently pat her on the head and go there.
And she reaches forward with her hands, and she grasps onto your cloak, or whatever you're wearing over your armor. And she buries her head in your chest, and she just sobs uncontrollably.
I'm going to pick her up.
Okay?
I'm just going to pick her up and hold her. And I'm going to go stand in the corner holding a crying little girl while the adults have a conversation.
And
Just
Connor
gestures
still has
for
his
Connor.
thumb
Come
sticking
close.
out. I think he's introducing himself, but
Lucius reaches out, shakes his hand. Says, Lucius Udoc, now what the fuck are you doing here?
labeled it not Florian.
That is correct.
Great.
Lucius Udoc, now what the fuck are you doing here?
Wow.
Well, he heard Flumph Inc. banish the flying pig, and I've been looking for you for a few weeks now.
Yeah, sorry about that. We've been out of town. Busy. Other cases.
Yes, so I gathered.
Why are you here?
Yeah, why have you followed us into the back of some jackhole's shop and down into a hole,
Well,
which is full of death and ouch. Lucius nods his head over to the bound up corpse behind him.
well, you have tackled a fiend and banished him, to which I applaud you a great deal. But I hope that you understand what exactly you have caused, and the subsequent ripple effect that will have brought.
Oh yes, I'm sure.
I know, it's kinda waved his hand,
1,001 years of 1,001 years of blight and utter sorrow and yada 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 and no, well, that's not going to affect me because I have something much worse now.
We also
Anyway.
we've also pissed off a dragon.
Pissed off a dragon.
Well,
I'll leave it
allegedly.
up to Connor whether or not he knows about this dragon. 'Cause this is a fairly large monster that lives in this region. And Connor is specifically a monster slayer, yes?
Yeah, he is a slayer.
I'll leave it up to you if you want to actually know anything about this dragon or not.
Sure. Let's say he does. You've pissed off a dragon. You mean he was an adult black dragon, right?
So what you know about the dragon is you know its general whereabouts next to these old ruins that they were investigating. You probably don't know that Flumph Inc. met him at any point. This is the kind of monster you know enough about him to know where the boundaries of his territory are and know to stay out of it. However, you also know that lately there has been a larger than normal number of orcs and orc kin congregating in that area, in that dragon's territory.
Yeah, we took a face full of acid. That was not pleasant.
I mean, to be fair, the pissing off the dragon came allegedly because we were all unconscious at the time. We just have Seeker's word that he did that awesome thing.
Hence, face full of acid.
So, you've pissed off a dragon and you've banished a Rakshasa. Is there anything... What else haven't I heard? What? Like...
Client confidentiality.
I feel like that's pretty much the most of it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do you find yourselves thinking this is going to be a reoccurrence?
Which
no
one?
doubt.
I'm very concerned you were taking this all very lightly.
We're not adventurers.
We're
And
investigators.
Connor laughs at that. Sure, of course you're not.
I don't know if me the player, I don't know if my heart can take McDohl being the reasonable voice in the room.
Well.
Just remove Adrix from your brain for a little bit. It's fine.
I think you were taking this very, very glibly, and I feel like I must compel you to take it more seriously.
What can we do to prepare? I mean,
And
Also,
trying
in
to
the
take
middle
that
of
as an opportunity to explain like the orcs that have started to gather in the Black Dragon's territory.
Yeah. Okay. We're kind of in the middle of something at the moment, so I don't know why you brought a little girl down here.
Well, she seems to know you.
Yeah.
Does this
but
belong
you're-
to you?
your first response was to take her into some awful, horrible catacombs underneath the city.
To be
Why
fair,
didn't
all
you
we
leave
knew
her at the-
about
Yeah,
To be
go
fair,
ahead.
all he knew about was the tailor shop. Like this is something new.
He could have left her at the barge. Like, obviously he knew we were working.
She could have run away from the barge. She's currently in
I don't
Medicare.
think Linda would have let her run away if you'd asked her to just keep her there.
She's currently in
Did you-
Medicare.
What
Did you
time is it?
even-
I don't think Linda's even there right now.
Not in the middle of the night, no.
And by the way, and Connor explains that there's someone waiting for them at the barge. One wants to sell them fancy clothes.
I just got new pants. I'm good, thank you.
I'm not really. No. I don't trust anybody hanging around the barge anymore.
Gus is the kind of guy who buys one pair of pants a year, and that's the only pair for his whole year. They're his yearly pants.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I had 2 wizards and a artificer that could
Yep.
just fix my pants and prestidigitation them clean. It's like the ultimate kind of who needs a tailor? You just get one pair of pants, you cast mending on them when they get a rip, and when they get soiled, you get the wizard to cast prestidigitation. It's great.
So what's next?
Well,
why?
Do we need to keep
So-
going through here, or are we going to head back? Alex is kind of at this point glancing back and forth between this new person, Scrappy, and the passage leading further on towards the castle.
Yeah,
we're on a time crunch here.
Hey, Brick.
yeah.
Would the Phaedruishad help Florian in this instance?
What do you mean?
Like, they clearly do healing magic, and there's apparent that it borderline on like a necromantic cult.
That's not public knowledge. That's not something that any of these other dorks know.
Okay.
Unless you tell them.
No.
Okay.
That's good.
They're less of a like well-organized magic academy like Tylestis Apt would be, and more kind of a loosely organized, at least on the surface level, organization of independent healers and alchemists and surgeons and low-level clerics and things in town that provide small healing services. So they're more akin to, I don't want to say the cobblestone wizards because their specialty is actually nothing, but they're more akin to like a mercantile guild hall than a magic college.
Gotcha.
So there's not like an academy that you would go make an appeal to, like show your credentials and they help you out. But you may or may not have Phaedruishad contacts in the city who can provide those services to you if you need them.
Okay.
Okay. We are on a time limit, but the problem is we now have a little girl and a corpse that we can't very safely navigate this unknown place.
I mean, how long does it take to move our way back to go back to the yacht and to the barge and come back? Like, I don't feel like that's a very long amount of time.
Maybe an hour round trip. I mean, you have to walk across most of the city.
How long can we just send Scrappy and go without him?
Scrappy knows the way. Scrappy's got 3 int.
Send Scrappy with the corpse and this little girl.
Mm-hmm. Just give her the key to the barge and tell her to go inside and go. She knows, she's been in the barge before. She knows where the guest bed is.
Right.
Connor looks suspiciously at the badger and goes, "I will return the girl, the barge, if you so desire."
Gus eyes you he narrows his eyes at you. So he goes, "Where are you from again?"
Around.
Yeah, see, when people
To be
answer
clear-
questions like that very vaguely like that just makes us more suspicious of you.
To be clear, like, yeah, Connor is dressed kind of like a vagrant. So
He's like half a bum. So he and Gus have a lot in common.
Gus is wearing plate mail. Thank you. And he's got a fine new pair of
And
pants.
tailored pants. That he had tailored over his armor. so-
I'm wearing them over my plate mail. Yes.
Yeah.
Look, Scrappy's completely competent to bring a little girl back to the barge, especially a girl that already knows where the barge is.
Right. Kana, are you going to be okay? Staying the night at the barge, and then we'll get you some breakfast in the morning, and we'll.
And she kind of looks back to Connor, and Connor, you see, like, she doesn't say anything, but you can tell that she's seeking your approval as her current, like, kind of guardian.
It's safe to go, Kana. After all, such a powerful group of not adventurers banished a very powerful Rakshasa. I'm sure they know what they're doing.
So Connor, or Scrappy, takes the body and the little girl back up the ladder and out of the dangerous dungeon that's already killed one player character.
Yep.
Yes, we get rid of this. We'll make sure we don't carry the little girl with that probably has like what 3 hit points.
And
Does she have hit points? She's a little girl.
you guys are all out of spell charges, and you're down a player, and you're down a badger, and Connor came into the adventure with, like, having
Missing
already
3.
used 3 spell slots.
I was under the impression that it took several days to get back into the city and the barge and whatnot. But I can keep those marked off if you so want me to.
So yeah, you found the loose bricks in the wall and made an opening further into the complex.
So I don't think I used a single spell slot the last combat.
Maybe if you used one, Florian wouldn't have died.
Ooh, brutal.
Harsh.
Now we know whose fault it is.
Yeah.
It's yours. You did it.
All right, Connor, your name? Yeah, that's right, Connor. Listen, we're in a kind of a dangerous thing that if we are caught, we'll likely be arrested and probably locked up in a deep dark hole for the rest of our lives. So if you're keen on following us, I'm not going to stop you, but I am going to fully disclose what's at stake here.
And Connor nods and hands you a good berry.
Lucius looks at it.
It's very good.
It's a good
Tasty
berry.
looking, I guess.
It's a fantastic
And
berry.
pops it in his mouth, gains a hit point.
Can I have 30 more, please?
Yeah, can I have like a bunch more of these?
He hands one to Gus and he hands one to Alexander.
I've got full
Looks
hit
at you
points.
eating the good berry and gives you another one and says, "This is. Please don't. I would appreciate it if you didn't. You saved these for critical moments.
I
Separated,
see.
you
Not
get thrown-
because it was
get thrown into a hole or imprisoned, etc., etc., etc. You have a way to nourish yourself, and therefore,
I imagine
No.
Lucius is hearing this explanation. It's like, if this random mofo had just showed up 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, no, Lucius is kind of like that right now.
All right, so your name's Connor.
yes.
Oh, yeah, I've already introduced myself.
It's Alex. Can I have a moment with my friends here, please?
Mm-hmm.
And Alex will grab Lucius and Gus.
Can we get like a huddle in the corner here?
Yeah, exactly. So I don't mean to alarm you, but I'm a little concerned that someone tracked us down while we're in the middle of breaking into the palace.
Yeah, that's distressing.
Maybe we should ask him how.
I mean, I guess he had the girl you were looking for,
I
so...
can't hear you.
I think at this point, if we keep him close, then
Yeah, we
Well,
probably
no,
should.
he's
I
trying
like that. I think we can't let him out of our sight once we get back out of here.
Listen,
Yeah.
guys, I'm incredibly stressed out right now. We just
Same.
lost.
Yeah.
Like we're all incredibly stressed out. Let's keep him close by in case I feel like murdering somebody. Are you ready, Connor? Let's go. You get to go up front.
Wait, did you say you have 2 hit points? How are people in terms of like damage right now?
9 hit points down.
I'm full.
Okay.
They never got a hit on me.
Not for lack of trying.
Notice.
Man, listen. I was trying to run interference for Florian. Listen, I tried my best.
You didn't spend any spell slots or any blips.
Okay, so Connor
raises an eyebrow at you go first. And he raises an eyebrow and he pulls out his bow, but not like just to like show it to him. Like, no, I shouldn't be doing that.
Oh, looks like you're still stuck in the go first position, Gustavus. Sorry.
how wide is this passageway I've opened up?
Probably less than 3 feet. You'd have to squeeze through it because remember the wall just pivots to one side and makes this very narrow. Once you get into the passageway, it's 5 foot squares.
Okay.
Well, Gus squeezes through.
Gus. The stonework of the area continues to be this very ancient worked dwarven stone. And as you look, you see the path forks to the left and the right. Looking down the path in front of you to the right, you can see alcoves on the left and right side of the wall where the stonework, the brickwork rather, has been removed, leaving just the earth behind. Like little holes in the side of the wall, earthen holes.
Alex, can I have a torch out of your bag, please?
Alex, I'll hand you a continual flame coin.
That works.
If you need dark vision, I can assist with that.
We're fine, thanks.
Oh god, he's a human. He can't even see in the dark.
I'm fine. Do not worry about that. I have traversed such areas before. Do not worry about me.
Okay.
Okay, so how many rocket shots have you killed?
Can we have that?
Not.
Can we have that
And I assure
conversation?
you have not killed one either.
Can
Fair.
we pump the brakes on this conversation?
So Gus is going to go forward and just kind of peek into the. You said there's.
Yeah, they're like earthen holes. Maybe about 4 feet around. It looks like at one point they might have been larger, bored out of the earth here. But over the years, they've partially collapsed. Each one goes about 6 or 7 feet into the wall. You'd have to squeeze to enter one, but it doesn't look like they actually go anywhere.
So.
And what's your passive perception?
12.
12. Okay.
There's some recesses in the walls here. Maybe does anybody know anything about this area of Dunfoss? Is there supposed to be some kind of, I don't know, kind of like cemetery under here? Like, did they inter bodies down here?
Can I use my archaeologist background feature to get a better idea of the reason this place was constructed?
Do you speak Dwarven?
I might. I don't think so. No.
I do. Can I assist him with that if I speak Dwarven?
Yeah, you can assist.
Okay.
Alex.
Yeah.
Make a history check.
Yep.
You can make this at advantage because Gus is with you and he speaks Dwarven.
So that's a 28.
Okay. At the base of each of these earthen holes that are just bore into the walls here, you find strange markings, and you have to analyze them for a long time before you realize these are extremely faded and badly worn away, but they are an archaic Dwarven runic script. And Gus, you speak Dwarven, but you speak contemporary Dwarven. And you're able to recognize this script and kind of decipher, like, phonetically what the words are. But you're not able to translate any of it. So Gus and Alex work over this for a few moments. And Alex, you realize that what you must be looking at are tombs of incredibly ancient dwarves that held kingdoms in this area. long before Dunfoss started recording its own history.
Well, I feel like if Maximilian extended the catacombs at all down further for his own line, this would be the natural endpoint of it. Good. Think we might be on the right track.
And in front of you, you see the path once again split off left and to the right.
Yeah.
So I've got 120 feet of dark vision. I think Lucius does too. Can we see anything else down these?
Yeah, Lucius was keeping watch on this thing to make sure they weren't getting ambushed by anything nasty.
Lucius, looking down this way,
from that end,
the passage, you see several more of these little bolt holes in the side of the wall, but they're much, much larger, and it looks like at one point the entrances might have had stone doors affixed. Looking down the rest of this way, you see where the tunnels, one of them turns off to the left, the other one turns off to the right, and then ends at a heavy stone door that is still in place.
I'll tell the others that the passageway curves off to the right.
Let me get a look at that door. Move up to here and inspect the door for traps.
The door itself is just a slab of stone. And you see, and it's incredibly ancient. At one point, there must have been a mechanism in a spot on the stone that is badly marred and damaged now, but where handholds might have been affixed. And you don't find any traps, but you realize how the door was to be opened. At least 2 dwarves would stand in front of it, these handholds, and roll this huge stone slab aside. There must be a groove that it's sitting in to be rolled aside and give access to the rooms beyond.
Do I think I could get that out of the way with any amount of mechanical advantage from a crowbar, or is that just outside of what's possible with it in its state of disrepair?
If the handholds were intact, which they're not, and if you had the strength of 2 dwarves, which you don't, and the thing was in good condition, which it's not, it would still be a challenge to open it. In its current state, you're not moving this thing without magic, almost for a certainty.
Yeah, I don't think we can. I don't see any easy way to get this open aside from hammering through it. So,
take a look around and see if another opportunity presents itself.
So, what's down this way?
Looking down this way, the path kind of snakes to the right a little bit and then widens as it goes through an almost completely collapsed stone archway. So there's a doorway at the end of this tunnel that is filled with just rubble and debris, but not so much that you couldn't traverse it. You'd have to climb up and over it. But it looks like there was a massive stone archway that has collapsed down into that space.
We've got a path down this way. Do we want to go this way, or do we want to go down this one?
Let's go this way first.
Yeah. Hey, Connor. I've taken a couple of bites. Get in front of me. You smoke? And Alex offers you a cigarette.
Connor raises an eyebrow, but takes a cigarette. This is surprisingly smooth.
I made it myself.
Thank you.
Stepping into this room, Gus, it's a very large space, 20 foot wide across. And there are large stone columns rising from the floor to the ceiling here. Along the side of the wall, you see more of these little earthen alcoves, but 2 of them, this one and this one, are sealed off with smaller versions of the round stone slab that Alex saw earlier. Stepping actually into the room, we will now roll initiative.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Oh, sorry.
Oh.
I apologize, McDohl. Your die came right in front of my mouse as I hit the R key.
That was brilliant.